It's now 25 minutes to midnight here on the Friday Rock Show on BBC Radio 1. It's always an event. People are always interested in the latest album by MANOWAR. And people are always interested in the band as well. So, a good friend of this program, good mate of ours as well, Chris Tetley, sent us along an interview that he did with Joey DeMaio out of the band MANOWAR. Joey DeMaio is the main songwriter. In fact, I think he writes everything. He's also the bass player. And he's also a real rock and roll spokesman. So we thought you'd like to hear it. So here it is. Plus, of course, a couple of tracks from the new album called Fighting the World. But first off, we start with Chris Tetley talking to big Joey DeMaio.
You've been absent from the business for quite some time, haven't you?
Yes, we have. We purposely, at the end of the Sign of the Hammer tour, told all of our friends in the press, including yourself, that we've had enough now. We wanted to seek out a real record company instead of the last one that we had, one that was capable of understanding heavy metal, and a heavy metal band such as MANOWAR. We had not found that up until just now. So we're not the type of people who take advantage of all of our fans and all of our followers and believers and just put any old thing in the press every week, whether it's true or not, like most groups do. We wanted to wait until we actually had something to say. And we knew that by saying anything, our fans would just say to themselves, when the time is right, MANOWAR will come back. Until then, we've got 4 albums. And when they come back, it'll be bigger and better than ever. And that's, it's taken 2 years of silence, but here we are.
Okay, there were 4 albums originally, Battle Hymns for the Liberty record label. Mm-hmm. And then Into Glory Rides and Hail to England for the Music for Nations record label. And the 10 record, All Men Fire on 10, or whatever it was called.
Right, All Men Play on 10. Yeah. But we fire on 10, too, so I think that's probably a better title.
Which brings me, of course, to these fabulous photos. It's a pity this isn't television, of your PAs. Just go through these photos again, which I'm going to take home and treasure.
Chris, this is, the first photo we're looking at is a picture of my personal bass rig, and it's the largest bass rig in the universe, and it's what I record with in the recording studio, and it's what I play with live. There's no room on our stage for a fake stage set, hiding my bass amp, because I'm really not embarrassed of it, so why would I want to put a stage set above it? I want to put equipment on the stage that delivers raw power and raw metal. My bass rig does 160 dB on stage. I'm the loudest bass player in the world, and MANOWAR is, the loudest band on stage. I mean, anybody.
How many combs is in that, then?
That's about 100 speakers right there.
Yeah. And then Ross's guitar rig here, which are Marshalls.
Yeah, Ross uses his standard setup in the studio and on stage is 12 Marshall cabinets and 6 Marshall heads, and they're all modified, of course, to do 2 to 3 times what the normal Marshall would do. So actually, Ross is playing, anywhere from, 12 Marshall stacks on out, the equivalent of that much power. But you see, the reason we do that is, Chris, we don't rely on the PA system, because the PA system colors your sound, and it tends to change the overall quality of the sound. We rely on the band's power from the stage. And Scott is now playing a new custom-built drum system. They're all electronic, and he's using computers to fire them. And it's called the Drums of Doom system, and it's all custom built for him. And Scott plays back prearranged drum sounds that have already been pre-recorded from his kit. So therefore, it's unbelievable. There's the sound of cannons, trains crashing, and it really, really comes across well with what we're doing. We want explosive power, and that's what we're all about. We're not about stage sets and tuning our guitars down to sound a little thicker and a little heavier. We're playing at the normal pitch, which most musicians don't do. I don't know if you know that or not. Most bands tune their guitars down a little bit so that the singer can sing up a little higher, but we tune to standard pitch, and our singer does his screams at normal pitch, which most people can't do.
Mighty, along with Klaus Meine from the Scorpions. I mean, Eric is just some sensational singer.
Oh, he does a scream at the end of this new album that is just going to horrify other singers. In fact, there's going to be a lot of people looking for a good piece of rope and a strong tree after they hear this new album.
How did you get the deal, firstly, with Atlantic Records? That's most important, isn't it?
Well, yes. The thing is, as I said, we've dealt with a lot of whackers in the past, and it's been unfortunate, but really, the good thing about all of the bad times MANOWAR have had has been the fact that our audience have stuck with us, and they've been loyal. And I think that the thing that's most remarkable about that is that if you put out an honest, sincere product, you might not get 1 million fans, but the fans you will get will be sincere people that can spot sincerity. In other words, I've never ever held the illusion that MANOWAR is going to be the biggest band in the world. It would probably never be the biggest band in England. I don't ever think we'll ever play Hammersmith Odeon 7 nights in a row. But I do know that it would take 7 of anybody else's fans to make 1 of ours. And that's all we care about. If we play to 100 people or 1,000 people, it doesn't matter. We put on the same show and we do the same thing every night. We are just there to deliver metal. And that's what it's all about. Atlantic Records noticed this, to answer your question, because we did a tour in Europe with Motorhead. And I must give Motorhead some great commendation. They were very good to work with, and they're the only group that's let us open the show for them in 4 years. We did 1 tour with Ted Nugent for 6 gigs 4 years ago, and since then we've been turned down by every major heavy metal band in the business. Yes, fans, I'm sorry to say, some of your heroes don't have the balls to let us play on stage with them. Motorhead came through. Lemmy personally came in the dressing room the first night of the tour. He knew what I was there for. He knew I was there to drink his blood. And Lemmy's not a stupid guy, and he walked in and said, "Hi, Joey, how are you?" I said, "Hi, Lemmy, I just want to say thanks for having us along." And he looked me right in the eye, and he's a man, and he said, "Joey, if you think you can burn us up, well, then you get out there on that stage and do it." I said, "Lemmy, that's what we're here for. Thanks a lot." And it was great. He was such a man. He just stood there and let us get out there and do our best. And of course, he got out there and they kicked ass. And at the end of the day, the fans got a great show. They saw MANOWAR get out there and kill, and they saw Motorhead get out there and kill. And our fans loved Motorhead, and a lot of the Motorhead fans really liked MANOWAR. Yeah. So at the end of the day, when you've got that type of attitude, that's when you get metal.
It's what you call value for money, isn't it?
Value for money for the fans and true metal. I mean, by people that are really concerned. There was no fakery, no gimmickry, no flash pots, none of that. I mean, it's not necessary. Why take the focus off the band? The people are there to see the band, give them the band.
I tell you, we're just sitting here in the studio, my engineer and a guest of mine and myself just grinning. We're all thinking Spinal Tap. Ah, wonderful. Joey DeMaio in conversation with Chris Tetley. Thanks, Chris, for sending us the tape. He's a real rock and roll spokesman, Joey DeMaio. But the band, well worth a look. They really are. They'll blow the back out of any auditorium, virtually. MANOWAR from their new album called Fighting the World. The tracks were Black Wind, Fire and Steel. The first track was Blow Your Speakers. And, of course, I did. Again this week, mind you, do that every week. BBC bill me at the end of every week for a new set of speakers. MANOWAR will be touring in the United Kingdom in May. I haven't got the accurate dates, but they really are well worth a look. Totally over the top and great.